Hello, today I'll be going over the film Bonnie and Clyde and its impact on Hollywood, along with the cultural reflections of the societal attitudes of the time. My name is Mitchell Seaford, and I'll be doing the voiceover for our group presentation. Our group members included myself, David Northrup, Sherry Gordon, and Steve LeBassonere. So, just a brief synopsis of the film. It was filmed in 1967, taking place during the Great Depression. The film cinematizes the real lives of Bonnie and Clyde, two lovers and partners who band together with three other members to form a bank robbing gang. While the Barrow Gang, as it became known to be, quickly gained nationwide media coverage, they also became public legends and continued a life of crime and pursuit from the law. Through the film, we see how the main character's life of crime and adventure is romanticized and glamorized, while often alluding to the anti establishment attitudes of the time. So the film Bonnie and Clyde reflects the cultural shifts that were at the forefront of the 60s in the midst of major societal changes in America. As the production code was ending, the film pushed boundaries with its expressive depiction of violence and sexual themes that were previously banned while simultaneously tapping into the 1960s counterculture by challenging traditional gender roles and questioning societal norms through its story and characters. While leveraging Hollywood's star system to enhance these themes, the public personas of its leading actors, Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty, became public icons of the era's counterculture movement. So, the first topic we wanted to touch on was the film's use of the star system in Hollywood. Seen here in this photo, the couple in the middle, you have the main stars, Faye Dunaway, who played Bonnie Parker, and Warren Beatty, who played Clyde Barrow, along with the amazing supporting actors. To the left, we have Gene Hackman, who played Buck Barrow, Clyde Barrow's trusty brother, and Estelle Parsons, who played the role of Blanche Barrow, um, Buck's wife. Alongside with that, there was Michael J. Pollard, whose character C.W. Moss was their trusty yet hapless getaway driver. So in the film, the five of them make up the Barrow Gang. So, a major part of Hollywood cinema is casting. A major aspect of finding the perfect cast is to find stars whose public persona can easily transcend onto their on screen character. Doing this helps add depth to the film and drive home underlying themes. Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty were particularly effective casting choices for this film, both on and off screen. Their status in Hollywood helped elevate the film's popularity while helping ensure that it reached a wider audience. Their edgy public personas helped drive home the film's influence and push the boundaries of mainstream cinema at the time. In an article for Cinephilia and Beyond, film critic Finn McCulloch proclaims, and I quote, that the film exploits the counterculture atmosphere of the time with captivating performances from Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, supported by prophetically cast supporting roles that captured the imagination of millions and became a cultural landmark of the American 60s. Another aspect of the star system was how Hollywood would place a major emphasis on a star's image and persona, and how that would oftentimes supersede the actual acting. Warren Beatty was actually originally hired as a producer for the movie Bonnie and Clyde, but being known for his portrayal of outcasts and charming heroes, he became the perfect fit to drive home the film's motivating factors behind the character of Clyde. Hollywood would also focus on finding and molding the public personas of new and upcoming stars that fit into their desired roles, opposed to attempting to shift and deviate from an already established star. One example could be if someone was known as a rough and tough character, per se, in country westerns, like a Clint Eastwood type character, it wouldn't make much sense to cast him in a light-hearted rom-com. Faye Dunaway, for example, hadn't seen much success with their first two films and was relatively unknown before Bonnie and Clyde made her into a Hollywood star. In a biography about Faye Dunaway, she is stated as embodying the spirit of the film with an intoxicating mix of youthful rebellion, vanity, and sexuality. Ultimately, Hollywood's strategic use of the star system helped really drive home the impact it had on audiences. So the next major topic that we wanted to dive into is how the film came out right as the production code um, era was ending, which made a huge impact on how films were approached.
The following movie is rated R.
So the production code was a regulatory system that decided what could and couldn't be displayed in films. Bonnie and Clyde was filmed right as the regulatory production code was ending and Hollywood moved towards the MPAA system. This allowed the director Arthur Penn to stray from policies regarding violence, sex, and many other taboo themes that would have otherwise been banned. The MPAA rating system allowed for much more flexibility and, as a result, much more artistic freedom. Bonnie and Clyde was one of the first films following the production code. It really took advantage and pushed the limits with its graphic violence and sexual content. Another thing it did, which was banned under the production code as well, was make the main characters relatable and likable despite committing crimes and being murderers. There's actually a scene in the film when Bonnie and Clyde rob a bank. During this scene, there's a customer, an older man, who they tell to keep his money and that it's not the common folk they're after. Soon after, the man is interviewed by a newspaper and says that Bonnie and Clyde did right by him, that he has no issues with them, and he will even leave flowers at their grave. This is just an example of how they humanized and glamorized the criminals in the movie, which again would have been a very taboo theme or banned even under the production code. And then lastly, the film's display of violence, including machine guns, human death, and details of crime, would have definitely been strictly prohibited under the production code. The last scene in the film is a cinematic icon and one that would have been shocking to audiences at the time. The director of the film, Arthur Penn, is quoted as saying, "It was a time where it seemed to me that if we were going to depict the violence, then we would be obligated to really show it accurately." So now I'm just going to play a quick that. Now I'm going to play that cinematic scene.
Hey.
Okay, so the final topic that we covered was how Bonnie and Clyde reflect the 1960s counterculture movement of the time. So I'll just kind of have this video playing in the background here while I go over some of our main points. One of the first main points was that the late 1960s were a time of significant social and political uproar. There were widespread anti-war protests, kind of as seen in the film, in the video playing in the background. There were demands for civil rights and an anti-establishment attitude towards societal norms. In an article from Vox titled "The Bloody and Exhilarating Bonnie and Clyde," writer Alyssa Wilkinson states, "The kids loved Bonnie and Clyde, which became a rallying cry for the burgeoning counterculture. 1960s was a time for young people disillusioned with traditionalist culture, flouting norms about everything. Bonnie and Clyde are an emblem of that attitude." So the movie really takes advantage of the theme of the disillusioned youth, which was a major point of the 1960s. So next, one of the many counterculture themes of the film or of the many counterculture themes of the time, the film portrays changing dynamics of gender roles, aligning with the push for gender equality. The character of Bonnie is cast as a strong, independent, and dominant at times, really deviating from Hollywood's typical casting of women being helpless or dependent on a man. But along with the film's unconventional portrayal of Bonnie and Clyde's relationship, which was essentially foregoing suburban assimilation for a life of crime, the film's unconventional sexual portrayal of Bonnie and Clyde's relationship also rejected societal norms at the time. One theme throughout the film is the sexual attraction in pursuit from Bonnie towards Clyde, with Bonnie making several sexual advances, with which Clyde continually turns away due to his response that he's just not a ladies' man and that he never saw the advantage of it. Several times the film alludes that this is due to his sexual incontinence. But what's interesting is yet, despite the lack of a sexual relationship, they continue to grow and remain madly in love. So this is something that I think is definitely, outside of the societal norms, definitely particularly in the 60s. And the final topic, or the final point, rather, by the film's use of the setting being during the height of the Great Depression, it really helps mirror coinciding ideologies of the 1960 counterculture. In the film, when the Barrel Gang would rob banks, they never take advantage of the civilians and they only rob government backed banks, ultimately being portrayed as a type of societal public servant. There was even a scene in the film when Bonnie and Clyde are staying up in a house that the bank had taken over when the previous owner comes by to give one last look at his house. And Clyde hands him a pistol so he can shoot at a sign that had the name of the bank that took over the house. So yeah, this type of attack on banks in the film represents everything that the 60s counterculture sought to disassemble, which was government repression, social inequality, and social norms. In conclusion, Bonnie and Clyde not only marked a significant transition in American cinema from the restricted production code era to a more open and expressive filmmaking style, but also captured the essence of the 1960s counterculture movement. By challenging traditional societal norms about violence, sexuality, and gender roles, the film resonated deeply with the societal shifts of the time. Additionally, through the film's strategic use of the star system, it propelled its leads into the spotlight and skillfully highlighted their public personas to enhance the film's impact. Bonnie and Clyde stands as a testament to the powerful relationships and impact that cinema can have towards societal change. Thank you.